Hello there. So, yeah, Mermay. It's, this drawing event that every year challenges you to draw 31 mermaids for each day of the month. You can go freeform and just draw whatever comes to mind, or a lot of people follow lists of prompts that offer a theme for each mermaid you draw. Sometimes it's helpful when you don't have any idea what you want to draw, but just as often it's actually kind of a challenge to figure out how to incorporate that theme into what you make. For me personally, I love this time of year where I could watch YouTube Speedpaints and Instagram posts of the mermaids created from my favorite artists. But me personally participating? I couldn't do that, myself. Except, what if I could? And you know what? I did. I totally did. 31 mermaids in hand, score. After finally pushing myself to participate this year, I think I came out of it learning a lot. I know I'm not the only one that has sat on the sidelines of a drawing challenge event, only to feel a little regretful once it's over and you have nothing but other people's amazing art to show for it. So for all those out there wanting this to be the year to just push yourself to do that one art challenge you've always wanted to do, thought I'd share some of the things I learned. Lesson number 1, decide what you want. Okay, so I would normally start the year with aspirations to join Mermay myself, but by the time April actually started to wrap up, I would have tons of reasons not to. I'm way too busy and I don't have the time, or I don't want that kind of stress, or here, this one's my favorite, I probably won't finish it anyway, so why should I bother getting started? $2 says some of you guys might be telling yourselves the exact same things. And like me, you find yourself enjoying Mermay as more of a spectator instead of a participant. So what made this year different? It is strangely simple. I decided I wanted to finish. I really, really wanted it. I imagined hitting the end of May and looking through all 31 of my mermaid designs. They could be ugly, they could be unoriginal, they could be absolutely dumb. But there would be 31 of them and they would be mine. And I wanted that so much. So I decided I was going to get it. You've probably heard the popular advice of not letting yourself make any excuses and to just go for it. I've actually heard it said a slightly different way that really stuck with me. Focus on the prize, not the price. And that's exactly what I did. And I'll be honest, all those doubts and excuses, it's not exactly as if they went away. I was still concerned about the stress, and I was concerned about them not looking good, and I was concerned about committing all that time. But for every doubt I had, I realized I still wanted it more. So whatever big thing is out there that you are aiming for, whether it's 31 days of mermaids or 31 days of Inktober drawings or anything else, focus on the fact that you want it and just sit in it. Get excited by it. Let that excitement fill you. And at the height of that excitement, just decide, all right, that is it. I'm gonna do this. Words like I think and I hope and I wish, they're nice, but put it all on the line. I am going to do this. And you figure out how you're actually gonna get it done along the way. Lesson number 2. Man, am I a piece of work. So, you've made your decision and you said, I am going to do this, and you're filled with fire and you're ready to tackle this, and you draw your first mermaid and you think, man, I'm a piece of work. And you'll note my tone is not exactly complimentary. Lofty goals and charged determination won't change the facts. My anatomy needs a lot of work. My gesture and posing needs a lot of work. Hands. Facial expressions. I need more than 2 of them. A concept design still needs a lot of work. Hands. All of my mermaids are floating in space. I can't even give them the decency of drawing them floating in water. Hands. And have I mentioned hands? And that's just on the subject of drawing, which I've been doing for years. What about screen recording, video editing, and posting on YouTube? Never did any of that before May 1st. I started this art event with plenty of challenges, plenty of reasons why I couldn't do it, despite my wanting and despite my decision. I still am a real piece of work. But another way of saying that is just this: I'm a rough draft. A really, 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 really rough draft. But still, I can get a second draft, a third draft, as many as I want. I can get better. I can learn. I can grow better. Go out there and find your favorite artist and look through their gallery at their oldest work. Go read the first book ever published by your favorite author. Go find your favorite sports figure or actor or anybody who puts their faces out there in the public, and go look at some of the oldest work that they did. Go look at the plays that they did in elementary school or the games that they played when they were in their school soccer teams. Think about any person who impresses you and remember that they were once also a rough draft, just like you are. Then keep that thought going and realize that if they also started exactly where you are, bad at hands and everything, then you can look at them now and get a glimpse of where you can be. Intimidating? Yeah, more than a little, but also exciting. What could my art look like if I kept practicing for a month or for a year? What could my video editing look like if I did 31 videos or 100? Starting where you're at doesn't seem so daunting when you realize that it's not where you have to stay if you don't want to. Lesson number 3. Practice finishing. One of my favorite authors is a guy by the name of Drew Hayes. He writes a lot of really good character-driven stories that focus mainly on subjects one might call nerdy. Series based on superheroes, Dungeons and Dragons, and the whole spectrum of supernatural creatures are some of my favorites by him, and I cannot recommend him highly enough. Anyway, I mentioned him because at the end of last year, he came out with a book full of advice on writing and publishing and all the behind-the-scenes details. And one of the chapters he wrote just really stuck out and left me a little bit shocked. It was in response to a question one of his readers had asked, something along the lines of, "What's the hardest part of your books to write?" He answered by saying, also something along the lines of, "Oh, the middle. I enjoy writing the beginnings and the ends, but pushing through the middle is always the biggest challenge. I tend to feel doubtful and discouraged that my idea is any good and that anyone will want to read it. Or I'll suddenly get bored of the idea and excited about 7 other ones that I want to begin right this second. Without a doubt, the middle is always the hardest part." Sound just a tiny bit relatable, But then he went on to say something I don't think I've ever heard before. Again, highly paraphrasing here, but it was something along the lines of, do your best to finish all your projects. You don't have to salvage anything usable from it. Not all ideas really need to be taken into a second draft. But by doing so, you get to practice getting over that middle hump to the end. The effort it takes to push through, past those feelings of inadequacy or boredom or distraction, engaging that push is a skill like anything else. And like all skills, it can get better and easier with practice. Like I said, I have never heard anyone say that before. I am a notoriously despicable non-finisher like nobody's business, and I have so many unfinished drawings and projects and stories and Inktober's and NaNoWriMos, you name it. I really admired people who produced webcomics or completed fanfics or finished an art challenge, hence my inspiration for Mermay in the first place. And I just assumed that they had a much stronger will than I did, or they had fewer doubts and distractions than I did. Figured there wasn't much I could do to change that. I had never once considered that it was just a weak muscle that could be conditioned to be stronger. So I approached the Mermaid this year with the mindset that I really wanted to exercise that muscle. More specifically, I wanted to exercise it 31 separate times. And there were definitely moments throughout the middle when I didn't like a mermaid design, and I really struggled to push through that feeling of dislike to keep working on it, or even when I wanted to just draw anything else. And on those days, it was low-key torture to push through. But towards the end, while the dislike never really went away, I actually did find myself just shoving through and getting to the end of the drawing with greater and greater ease. And even better, there was still this little thrill of pride and delight that I made it to the end. That really began to drown out whatever negative feelings were trying to hold me back from finishing it. And I did it over and over and over again. So try it for yourself. Find something you began but abandoned, or find something new to work on. Either way, take it all the way to completion, at least of the first draft. You can work on a big project if you want, but for your practice, you might want to look for a bunch of small things for a quick and easy win. Do it over and over again, and watch that pushing through skill of yours get stronger. Lesson number 4. Win no matter what. Alright, so true confession, I kinda cheated. In all honesty, I started working on my mermaid designs a little more than a week before May actually began. I'm pretty sure it was April 20th-ish, and if I were strictly following the guidelines of the challenge, then I should have started on May 1st and committed to drawing one mermaid every day. But one of the great things about art challenges like Mermay is that they don't come with a committee. There's no one hovering over your shoulder, dictating the rules, and making sure you follow them. Okay, you know what? No, scratch that. I lied. There is totally a committee. It's a committee of one. You. You get to set your rules and see that you follow them. You get to set the pace of your own race. You get to determine where the path goes, where you turn, when you go up hills, and when you coast down them. And most importantly, you get to determine where the finish line is. For me, I had little interest in forcing myself to only draw in 31 days in May. You know, I have a job, and despite all the restrictions COVID put on us, I still had to go to it every day. And besides that, I knew myself well enough to realize I would likely get tired or grumpy or busy or have any of a number of excuses, any number of things getting in my way, and that these things might result in a slower production time. I also had to remind myself multiple times that I was absolutely not going to worry about the quality of anything I drew. My goal for this was not to produce 31 mermaids representing my current skill level. I was all about that quantity over quality life. So for argument's sake, you could sort of say I customized my own challenge, and I rigged the game so I had the best chance of winning. The real goals that I had for the month of May were: number 1, design and complete 31 mermaid designs based off of different fish species on my prompt list, and I'll include the source of that prompt list in the description. Number 2, I wanted to post a separate YouTube video for each one of those designs, a separate YouTube speed paint. And number 3, I wanted to get everything finished before May 31st. Some of the goals I did not have were to start on May 1st and draw something every day, or even to just draw one mermaid each individual day. There was plenty of days when I'd draw 2, 3, I never actually got 4. So there's plenty of days that I would draw 2 or 3. And I had the best chance of getting my goals done by giving myself as much of a head start as possible, especially when it was at the very beginning and I was still excited and so pumped full of motivation. That way I could have a healthy buffer and I'd feel a lot more comfortable about taking breaks from mermaid drawing whenever I needed them, because I knew I would need them. Okay, example. By the time May 1st actually came around, at that point I'm pretty sure I had about 14 mermaids drawn and 12 speed paint videos edited and ready for uploading. So give or take, I did just under half in 10 days. At that rate, I should have finished all the rest somewhere in the middle of the second week of May, right? Want to know when I actually got the last design done? I finished my last mermaid on May 27th, and I finished the last of the videos about 2 days after that and uploaded it on YouTube to be scheduled for premiere. So yeah, the buffer absolutely saved my butt, and I wouldn't have completed any of my goals without it. Once you have your goals set, figure out what you want to get out of it, what your rules are, and where your finish line is. And as for all the other rules you're not really as sold on, break them! Cheat if you have to. Define what your win is, then set yourself up so you can get that win by any means necessary. Lesson number 5. Feel freaking fantastic. This last lesson sort of speaks for itself, and it ties closely to all the previous ones. Did you make a decision to do something big and just a little bit scary? That is fantastic. Did you look back on your work and feel like you improved just a little? Also fantastic. Did you push through to the end of something, no matter how big or small, even though it was difficult? Hells yes. Fantastic. Part of the reason you rework the system so you can win is not just so you can accomplish your goals. One of the best side effects of this is just simply that you win. And because you're in control of the rules, you can make sure you win as often as you like. It's like I said at the beginning, focus on the prize, not the price. And this can be true no matter whether you reach your final goal or not. So you didn't finish Mermaid? Alright, but you still gave it a try, right? Yes! Fantastic! Did you get farther than you did last year? Yes! Fantastic! Did you draw a hand that you're particularly proud of? Fan-freaking-tastic! This is more than just a looking at the glass half full kind of mentality. This is you focusing on your actual, real-life, honest-to-goodness victories. Celebrate them, all of them. Like we said earlier, we're all a piece of work on its way towards getting better and better. And all of these little victories are adding up towards pushing us farther and farther along that race path towards improvement in all of the areas we're working on. We're getting better. We're not the same as we were when we started. It all counts. Maybe your mermaid won't include 31 mermaids. Maybe it'll just be a great challenge to do half as many. Or maybe you're pushing yourself to do 10. Maybe you want to do one every week and put your all into each one, or you just want to bust out a bunch of tiny little doodles. Go back to lesson 4 and rewrite the rules so that you win no matter what. Then step back and bask in the fact that you just won. You won! You better feel freaking fantastic about that. So yeah, those are the 5 biggest lessons I learned after completing Mermaid. I really hope they help some of you guys get through your own mermaids. And did you notice? Well, a lot of my examples lean towards artistic goals. You can use these lessons towards anything you want, not just art. I hope you all find lots of big, scary challenges that you can tackle using some of the things that you've heard here. And when you do, please, 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 please leave a comment so I can cheer you on. I don't care how many weeks or months or even years after this video is posted. Please share your audacious decisions and your reworked rules and your fantastic victories. The cool thing about this is that the victories don't actually have to be your own for you to feel fantastic about them. We feel pretty fantastic when other people win too. So thank you for sticking around to watch this video. It won't be the only one, I promise. I personally still have a long way to go to become the artist that I want to be. And along the way, I really want to share some of the discoveries and victories that I make, hoping that they'll help you guys find your own discoveries and your victories. If that sounds like something you might want to be a part of, consider liking and subscribing. I'd really appreciate that. Anyway, thank you again, and I will see you. Bye. Oh, Plagg says bye too.